Hello, my name is Vanessa McNeil, and I am now doing cooking. Well, actually, I've been doing cooking for a longer time than I've been cooking since I was little. So, right now, I'm going to do a video on just prepping. I am making a chicken noodle soup. Now, this chicken noodle soup was passed on by my grandma, by my grandma, by my great grandma, by my mom, and it's one of the best chicken noodle soups I've ever had. So let me get this. Okay, so I'm going to what I'm going to start with for my prep is I'm going to cut this onion in half. And I'm going to cut up half of it, and then I'm going to cut up the other half later on when I make the chicken noodle soup video. So here we go. So I'm just going to chop up these onions, and now it's just a regular bland onion that I put in soup. That it calls for. It's just one regular white onion. The reason why I'm putting some in now and some in later is because you want to have some of it dissolve into the soup and be good, and then you want to have some of it still being around, still floating around in your soup. And so this is just going to give flavor for our chicken and such. I'm also going to be making a homemade noodle, which I will show how to make when the chicken is ready. I also have some celery. And I used 2 stalks of celery before and then two celery stalks after. And so I'm going to chop these tops off because we don't need those. And then you chop the bottoms as well. Now, before I fully chop these up, you always want to wash your vegetables. Reason why is because not because it just has pesticides on it, but because there's usually dirt or grime in it, and no one really needs that extra mineral in their soup. Here you go, clean celery stalks, or sticks, because they're no longer stalks. And you just chop them up like this. And you just make little things like this. Nothing too big, nothing too small, because if you have them too big, then it will just taste like celery soup, and that's kind of gross. I mean, unless you're one of those health freaks, then it might actually be good for you, and you might actually like it. Alright, so now I have baby carrots. Now the baby carrots, I like to use about 4 to 5 of them, depending on how big they are. And I chop them all up. So normally in a chicken noodle soup, you'd use a larger carrot. I'm using smaller carrots just to give it that nice mush that everybody likes. And of course, I'm going to put 4 or 5 more into the pot after the chicken is boiled and peeled. Ooh, flying carrots. Gotta love it. Oh, I don't need that part. Don't keep this part. That part's nasty. I mean, in the end, it's all just gonna be mush. So when you bite into that root, good luck. Okay. So now we have some garlic. Now they're not too big, they're not too small. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the ends of them just to get those ends off. And I'm gonna cut 3 of them because they're not too big. And I'm just gonna crush them with my blade. Now, the reason why you crush them instead of, say, chop them up is to get a better flavor out of them, and the garlic doesn't really activate if you cut it up. It tastes a lot better crushed. So crush it a little bit more. I'm gonna get that nasty shell off because no one wants a garlic shell in their soup. I mean, if you do, more power to you, but normally that's not a thing. Okay, we'll get this off. Alright, now we have them like that, and then so what you're going to do is after you crush them, then you chop them up. And you just a tiny little chop. And get some little more chops. Choppity chop, chop, chop. There you go. So now we have all our greens for chicken noodle soup. Let's go over here. So in this pot that I have, it's a 16-quart pot. You don't really need a pot that big. I only have a pot that big. I have a smaller pot, but yesterday it didn't go well. So yeah. So how we're gonna prep the chicken? It's really not that hard to prep a chicken. This chicken specifically is Kirkland brand. Hashtag non-spons, but you know, I mean, if I end up being, yes. Anyways, this has no preservatives. They're cage-free, and it's also chicken that my mother can eat. My mother, she has a chicken problem to where she can't eat any chicken that has hormones in it. So, or any real chicken at that, or no, chicken with hormones in it. This chicken specifically does not have any hormones in it. It is a very, very lucky chicken to not have hormones. Because most chickens, like Tyson chicken, like I made yesterday, has hormones, has that nastiness. Now, anyways, we're gonna get this guy. So, you know, you got your chicken. He thick. He big thick. We are going to open his wings, check for, what you check for is for wings, or for feathers. So, here, as you can tell right here, this little thing right here, that is a feather. Now, the reason why there's still feathers, or there aren't still feathers, a lot of feathers, But sometimes the chicken plucker or the chicken tumbler that they have, that the farmers have, don't always get the chicken fully cleaned. And so that's why you will always, always, always check your chicken before you put it in anything or cook it in anything. Otherwise, you're going to be eating feathers and oh, it's not good. Okay. That chicken looks pretty good, especially for it being, I mean, you have a few little ones. Yesterday, those Tyson chicken ones, the Tyson chicken was not covered in it, and usually the farmers are pretty good about not, they're usually pretty good about this kind of thing, especially when it comes to like feathers and all that, because nobody likes feathers, and everybody's like, that's gross, you know? Alright, so our chicken is ready. All you gotta do is plop them in a pot full of water. Now he's in that water. Now dump this stuff out. Actually, I'll pour a little bit in. Okay, so the spices that I put into this chicken stock pot was garlic powder, pepper, and, you know, salt. Salt's always great. Salt's very good for especially chicken. Normally it tends to be very salty, but this chicken specifically does not have salt in it because it is a healthy chicken. So I had to add the salt myself. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all those vegetables that I cut up, like green and beautifulness, and just shove it all in here. Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, okay. Here we go. And I'm not using these because that had a Tyson chicken in it. And I will now show you what this looks like. So, you got, you know, your chicken. Oh, here. Got your chicken, your vegetables, herbs. That is a nice chicken. And that chicken will now be lit. So, you want to have this chicken boiling and simmering. Well, you don't want it boiling, you want it to simmer. And the reason why you want it to simmer and not boil is because if you let it too long, it will indeed just fall apart. And you don't want it to fully fall apart because you got to get those bones and you got to get the skin out. Skin, bones, guts inside your chicken soup is the worst thing in the whole entire world. I mean, unless you like that. Most of my family doesn't like that. They're kind of like, you know, so. Hey! Okay. Anyways, that is my introduction to my chicken prep. I hope you all loved it, and I will be on later today peeling a chicken for y'all and peeling a chicken, making noodles, and yeah, and y'all get to see the rest of my chicken soup. Y'all have a wonderful day. Be safe. Be great.